Okay, that's close enough to 8 o'clock and close enough to everybody here. Welcome to CPS. You'll see that I'm MC again, and the primary reason for that is I haven't got my act together and allocated the timetable for everybody else. So this is the last time I'm doing it. I've done 2 in a row, so other people will be coming after me. So you don't have to put up with me forever. Guests, I can't see any faces other than Kelly and Brian again, so they're not really guests, but they sort of are. So great to see the Wanderers return. And yeah, that's about it. So for the rest of tonight, just talking about what we're going to do. Thanks to Dennis for I didn't actually see how the fruit special went, but everybody seems happy, so you must have had fun. We had a successful committee meeting, so that worked well. And the rest of the program tonight is essentially print number 3. But before we do that, John.
Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm John Cosgrove, former CPS member many years ago and currently president of RPS. Got lights? That's the last slide. Okay. First one, please. Right. One of the activities we are putting together is in a couple of... It's above the piano, is it? A number of years ago, those that may know me, because I see a few familiar faces out there, back in about 1992, I got inspired by what was happening in Scandinavia amongst the photo clubs there. They were running photo marathons. Back in the days of film, where you were given one 24-shot roll of film, and you had 24 hours to shoot 24 themes. And people did it. They actually stayed there for 24 hours, because each hour they got a new theme, so they couldn't go home and come back. I thought us Kiwis were not going to try that our first time. So I got some sponsorship from Fujifilm, and we ran one in Christchurch, and it was 6 hours long. We did 6 themes in 6 hours. Well, when I went to Singapore and moved to Singapore, the newspaper I was working with back in 2000 had a technical page, and they wanted an activity to excite photographers in the town. And so I said, why don't you do a photo marathon? And, well, how do we do that? We couldn't think of doing that. So we got Canon involved, and they thought it was a bit of a out there project too. But we had about 400, 500 photographers show up on the first day, and we had a ball. And for the next couple of years, I ran it. And now Canon still run that, the Asian photo thing, where they get 6,000 photographers along. It's huge. They're giving away R5s and lenses and printers, and they've got sponsorship galore. The Malaysian one is the biggest now, but you know, it's still considered a very integral thing. So I thought, why don't we do one here? Next one, please, sir. So on July the 26th, it's Sunday, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., we're running the photo marathon in Rangiora, and we would like to invite you to come out and take part. It's a great way to discover Rangiora through your DSLR camera or cell phone. So we're opening it up to all the schools, we're opening it up to all the clubs in the area, and just come and have a fun full day, and think of it as a giant scavenger hunt. Next one, please, sir. So, what is that? 6-hour photographic scavenger hunt, discovering Rangiora, as you race against the clock to create interesting photos. The marathon base will be the Main Power Cricket Oval, which is on Coldstream Road in Rangiora, and it'll run from 9 till 3 o'clock, rain or shine. So, starting at 9 o'clock, each photographer will be given a themed clue to use to create a photograph that follows the theme assigned. They will then go out into the Rangiora community, which includes Kaiapoi, Wood End, Waikuku Beach, or anything that you can go to create the photograph that depicts whatever the clue will ask them to. The topics will be varied and challenging. You then have 1.5 hours to shoot an image, get back, and either download it on your own laptop and bring it over by thumb drive or CF card or even Wi-Fi from your phone before you get your next clue. So you've got 1.5 hours. You'll get given a clue that you won't know beforehand what it is. We're going to give you a sample of it in a minute. And you've got 4 themes to photograph. It's going to challenge you. The panel of the RPS committee we'll look for, after the event, we'll look for the best image shot on the day, the 4 best themed photos, and the best photo shot by an under 18. The idea is we want to open it up to everybody. Next one, please, sir. The criteria for judging is that adherence to the theme is top. Creativity and storytelling. So you've only got to put in 1 photo, but you can take 10, 15,000 to get you 1 photo. Technical excellence is only minor. What I want to see is a good photo. There will be spot prizes from our sponsors. We don't have a lot at the minute. And the cost to you guys is nothing. It's free. What we want to do, once we get this first one out of the way, we can then go to the various community arts councils around the place and get funding and more prizes for next year's one. So you can make it an annual event. Is that the last one? Yeah. One more? Yep. So try to imagine what you would shoot for those 3 themes. If you were given the theme home and you had an hour and a half to come up with a photo and hand it back in, what would you shoot for home? What would you shoot for vintage? After all, Rangiora is not an old town. There's a lot of new housing out there. There's 30,000 new homes all around that area. Or circles. These are just some themes that were used in other competitions. So you'd get you get home first, and you go out and you think, what am I going to photograph that's creative, that tells a story? And you've got to think, how do you do that? You could photograph somebody's house. You could photograph a building. You could photograph a nest. That's a home. Isn't it? Think about it. A dog kennel's a home. So it's up to you what you think. So just have a think of what you would shoot for that. You know, a circle seems obvious, but when you get out there, where are the circles? You've got to find them. And it, you know, it could be anything down to 2 O's on a road sign. Pardon? Eyes? Yeah. Eyes? It's your interpretation. Last one, please. Sir. So this is what it is. Thank you very much. We really would like you to come out and join us on the 26th, which is Sunday, from 9 till 3 o'clock, to come and have some fun. And just get out there and shoot some funny pictures. Now, all the pictures that'll go into the competitions each hour, they're going to be given to, with your credits and everything, to the Waimakariri Museum. And we're hoping to build up a big portrait of the town over the next few years, looking at people's creativity as photographers in the future. So future generations can look back and go, oh yeah, I remember that. Because we're changing so much. Just like you guys have got new buildings and new roads, we're the same. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get out and have some fun photographing. And it's only from 9 till 3, so it's not 24 hours. I still have people asking me, can I do a 24-hour one? That's like, no. Getting too old to sit up all day and all night. But please come and have some fun. Thank you, sir. You can either, every 90 minutes you've got to be back and delivered 1 photo. And you can either bring your CF card to me or your SD card to me, and I'll plug it into my laptop, and I'll just say image number 4216, and I'll just download 4216. Or you can download it on your own laptop and then bring it over as a thumb drive. Or if you've got a phone, you can email it to me. But we won't tell you till that hour and a half's up what the next theme is.
So you can't get your new theme until you get back, though, can you? You have to cut. You can't sit at Waikuku Beach and do everything from there.
You've got to come back each time. So it'd be good. It's a good idea to have, excuse me, 3 or 4 members in a club and a car together, sharing the cost of petrol, and looking around Rangiora and the districts. So, John, you sent us a flyer. Yeah, it's on the. That was the one you downloaded. Yep. We can print it out. We're going to put it on the web and everything. The JPEG's there for it. So, yes, please come along. Please enjoy yourself and have some fun and meet other photographers. Because the idea is to bring all the camera clubs together. You've got your big event next year. PSNZ's big event here next year. This is the way for us to get to know other photographers in the region. Any other questions? I'll let you carry on. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, John. That's fantastic. I think we definitely need a team. So we'll figure that out a bit as we get closer and go from there. Interesting, I've also twisted his arm to run something similar during the convention, which sounds pretty cool as well. So, yeah, things to look at and things to go for. So that's really good. Just before we hand over to Heidi to read the Prince thing, just a quick outline of things coming up. So next week is the 7 o'clock session is John's showcase from the walkabout to Taylor's Mistake the other day. So if you went there, make sure you get your pictures in sooner rather than later. And the 8 p.m, I've talked about this already, but John Dugan is coming to talk about some landscape imagery and some styles of things. He's also going to, I talked to him the other day, and he's going to talk a little bit about what he thinks about when entering landscape-based competitions. So that's particularly useful for the upcoming New Zealand Landscape Salon. So if you're thinking about that, come and hear what John has to say. He did say, when I said, what's the secret to having a landscape image? He said, being lucky, you've got to be there at the right time. Sometimes if your images are judged on a Tuesday, you'll be fine. If it's a Thursday, you won't. So that was his conclusion. So I think that's a fair enough comment. But anyway, he's going to talk about that next week. The week after, there's a couple of things. I'm going to briefly introduce the set challenge this year. And then we're going to have those of us who are on the Pure Salt, there's another showcase to talk about what we did. So for those of you who were on Pure Salt, make sure you get some pictures in for that. And that will be followed by PI number 6. Hand-ins coming up is the audio-visual hand-in on July the 22nd. So if you've got it earlier than that, you can give it to John before that, but or we transfer it or whatever you want to do. But that's coming up. So that's the stuff that's happening in the future. I'm just now going to pass over to Heidi to talk about print number 3.
Good. Thank you, Ian. I'm just going to give information about the judge for tonight's critiques, and it is John Reed, APSNZ, ANPSNZ, AFIAP. And the briefing I've got, I'm going to read out, so just bear with me. In the 1980s, John's passion for photography developed when he started working in Westland National Park as a ranger. Can you all hear me okay? Is it coming through? It's all good, thank you. I didn't check. I was working and playing in an incredible environment, big mountains, amazing light, and photography gave me the format to capture some of these scenes forever. John is recently retired after working for the Department of Conservation for 43 years and lives in Greymouth. He's a member of the Photographic Society of New Zealand and the Nature Photographic Society of New Zealand. John enjoys landscapes, macro, wildlife, and photojournalism photography. Some highlights of John's photographic career have been to photograph wildlife in Botswana in different parts of the Okavango Delta. In 2014, this was followed up with a second trip to the African continent, visiting Namibia. I always get my Namibia. I'm stuffed, and I haven't even started. Apologies if you're listening, John. I hope you're having a giggle as well. In 2016, photographing wildlife, landscapes, and some of the Namibian culture. I hope nobody's got a Namibian picture in, so if I could. John has been an accredited judge for PSNZ for a number of years and judges in the open and nature categories. So we're just going to start. Score 1, atmospheric. This panorama composition of the landscape is reasonably strong, with the contours of the land leading the viewer through the print to the background mountains and the stormy clouds. I suggest, though, that the print is very dark and has lost the detail that we need to see in the middle ground from below the snow line and above to the grass country just above center. Perhaps this has been caused by an issue between the computer and the screen and the printer, with the computer screen being brighter than the output from the printer, leaving the print darker than it should be. The tones through the foreground are just acceptable, but it could also be stronger. On the alert. The widely spread backlit ears, raised mane, and the engagement of the young kudu with the photographer helps to tell the story of alertness. I can sense that the next move might be to entail a snort from the kudu and a rapid departure. As an open print, I suggest that a little bit more work could have been done in post-production. The white spot on the throat grabs the viewer's attention and competes with the subject's eyes. This could have been easily removed. I think some more work could have been done on the eyes to allow the color and the detail of the eyes to be more apparent. As viewed, they are quite dark, where they should really engage the viewer looking at the print. The warm light and subdued background complement the subject. Score 2, St Mary's Ward. The architecture of the inside of this building has been made to really stand out using green-red filter applied to give emphasis to the straight lines. My eye wandered around within this composition, not really settling on anything before settling on the radiator center that has been left with the bottom front corner cut off from the print. Perhaps the print conveys an impression of the skeleton of the old hospital, but I think it needs to tell more of the story. Score 2, Elephants at Chobe River. This print conveys the story of a matriarchal group of elephants drinking the river. The subjects are sharp, with the color being warm. The crop is quite tight, with very little space to the right of the female situated on the right-hand side of the print. I suggest that a panorama of the scene with more space around the subjects may have created a stronger composition. My eye tends to stay with the subjects on the left and the immature elephant center. In this case, I suggest that less would mean more, with the 3 being an odd number and creating more tension within the composition. The scene is peaceful, with the elephants happily quenching their thirst. Score 2, Moving Mountains. I think that the blues and whites are quite dominant in this print. The intentional movement has been quite effective on the higher mountains. I suggest though that the blue empty sky tends to draw the eye away from the moving mountains. Perhaps if half the sky was cropped, the effect on the mountains would be stronger. I think the grass's foreground adds some nice context and also balance the composition. Sailors cutting. The luminescent yellows and oranges plus the shape of the tree grab the viewer. I think this is quite a strong element of the composition. I suggest that there are still quite a few man-made elements around the tree that have been duplicated in this print. These elements, mainly cars and signs, distract from the overall impression that the print alludes to. As an open print, I think that some more work in post-production would have resulted in a cleaner and more artistic print. It might be a really good time to remind you, people looking at the print on the screen, that when the picture is being critiqued, it's actually the pictures that are on the wall. So sometimes you might have discrepancies in your mind, seeing and hearing, but if you go back to the pictures, it's a really good thing to do. Okay, thank you. Score 2, Ben O'Howe, early evening. The clouds building in the sky are a strong element within this composition. I suggest that the print would be stronger if it was cropped to a more of a panorama format. I feel that there is too much foreground and a crop to the bottom just to below the first lot of cattle to reduce the grassed area, bringing the lake in front of the mountain down to the bottom third line. I would also recommend a top off the top, reducing the amount of blue sky by cropping down to just above the top of the large cloud on the right. I think that this would make the composition more balanced by concentrating on the main elements within the composition. The colours and focus of the print are fine. Delicate cascade. The slow shutter speed used has certainly made the water falling over the rocks look delicate. There is some nice texture and lighting on the rocks. I felt the picture was a little unbalanced, with the majority of the cascade being on the left, with an empty area on the right. Perhaps a slight shift in composition would have balanced this out a little more. I also noticed that with the presentation of the print, some of the coloured lines which appeared to the left over from a printer alignment process. Once seen, these little things tend to stick with the viewer. The area bottom where the cascading water hits the pool adds a nice touch and adds to the context of the story being told. Score 2, catching the last light. The light on the background hills is quite beautiful. I suggest that I want to see more of this light across all of the hills. The deep shadow, I feel, is too dominant, and it becomes quite a distraction when the print is viewed. I would also suggest using quite a strong natural density filter on the camera lens to get the shutter speed right down. This would hopefully flatten out the ripples on the lake surface, allowing that reflection to really come through and be more vivid within the picture. Where the print has good light, the folds and indentations on those tussock slopes is magic. Evening glow, score 2. The scene is quite serene, with a calmness as the day comes to an end. The colours are strong. The colours are a strong element that grab the viewer's attention. I suggest the foreground needs to be a little stronger, as I feel that there is too much empty space bottom left that leaves the print feeling unbalanced, and my eye kept going from the left to the right without moving through the print to the background. The background hills and sky are better proportioned, occupying the top third of the print. Score 2, posts. The sense of texture and colour are strong elements within this print. The placement of the closer post right, with the space and different colour between the subsequent posts to the left, has created depth within the composition. I suggest the line of warm light just to the right of the first left-hand post tends to grab the eye within the composition. Perhaps in post-production this could have been eliminated. The intentional camera movement has created a pleasing artistic impression with the print, conveying this to the viewer. Crystallized, score 2. The sphere in front of the dark background with the crystals forming over it is an interesting and strong aspect of this composition. It holds the eye, but then as I get more drawn in, my eye wandered through the print, not really settling on anything, eventually sticking on the bright light spot and the lighter edge of the sphere to the left. He has long sentences. I suggest, along with eliminating the two areas of brighter light, some more depth of field was required to keep the crystals in focus to the outer edge of the sphere, making that edge to be sharp against the background. The colour rendition is pleasing, helping to define the shapes of the crystals. Snoozing in the wind. The tight framing of the subject pulls the viewer straight into the composition. The primary wing feathers have been perfectly caught blowing in the wind. There is some nice detail in the feathers. The even toning of the print has allowed the subject to appear quite cryptic against the surrounding rocks. I think this is quite a strong element of the print. While being cryptic, the perfect focus has added enough definition to separate the subject from the background. Score 3, getting into the acceptances. New Zealand fur seal. The print describes two sub-adult male fur seals interacting. The seals are tack sharp, allowing the whiskers and teeth to stand out in the print. The colour and texture of the fur is also well described. There is some good definition between the subjects and the background, and with the background not being too obtrusive to the viewer. There is nice catchlight in the eyes of both seals. The pout. Score 3. First impressions, I had to smile. The pout and the sideways look from the eyes is engaging. The lighting is warm and soft, with the focal point on the eyes and face being spot on. My eye got drawn to the right-hand edge of the print, and I was left wondering what was the straight, slightly brighter element was, before realizing it was probably a door frame. I suggest that some more of this element is needed in the print to just add a bit of context. Maybe the mat is slightly cutting this off. The color tone is warm, with the light falling across the child's face, adding definition to the facial features. Kathmandu skyline. This print conveys a sense of clutter and chaos, intermixed with shades of pastel color that describes Kathmandu. The skyline and hills appearing in the top third somehow balance the composition and tell yet another part of the story that surrounds the city. The detail in the foreground is incredibly sharp, and I enjoyed wandering my eye over the foreground multi-story buildings towards the higher buildings in the background. Yay! Cozy refuge. I got the feeling with this print that I wanted to see more. Maybe that is what the photographer intended. The light falls across just enough elements within the composition to create a limited picture, the pattern and color of the sofa being dominant. The wood polished floor with the sofa reflected, adding to the story but not completing it. The pole right but emptiness on the left creates tension. The overall sense of darkness and cold color to me doesn't feel like cozy refuge, but the print has evocated my imagination, or perhaps what else is there. Evocated? E-V-O-C-A-T-E-D. Evocative. Yeah. You know what he means though, right? Thank you. Okay. The high gloss media suits the image and it's nicely presented. Score 3, nature's frame. The branches and leaves of these coastal trees are nice and sharp, allowing the viewer to get immersed in the shapes and foliage before seeing the view beyond the trees. The placement of the branches and the depth of field used is almost like looking at two pictures in one. The eye is drawn through the gaps to the view on the other side. The print feels bright with an even contrast with nice color. Score 3, iris. The colors in this print have been beautifully replicated. The tight composition combined with the lighting used draws the viewer into the center of the print and then out to the edges, with the shapes of the background complementing the shapes of the flower. The color appears to be quite luminescent, making the print pop. Everything is beautifully sharp. Score 3, tropical splash. The color of this print stands out and certainly gives the viewer that tropical feeling. The shutter speed used has frozen the action, with the impact of the water frozen perfectly, the resulting cap at the top adding to the drama. I suggest that the crop is a little too tight, especially at the bottom, with the outer rim of the indentation being cut off at the edges of the print. Everything that needs to be in focus is, with the background being nice and clean without distractions. Score 3, hair and water painting. The action has been well caught in this print. The moment has been perfectly frozen. The juxtaposition of the two subjects as a strong element within this composition, while allowing the background to contribute to the storytelling being told. with the boats being framed nicely within the curl of the water and hair. The outstretched hands convey the sense of effort that the subjects have put into the display, while the darker colors of the subjects help distinguish them from the more subtle color of the majority of the print. School 4, Sun Orchid. The 3 stages of the orchid's flowers have been nicely captured, the odd number giving the print some tension. The feeling the print gives is one of softness and harmony, accentuated by the pastel colors and textures that run throughout the print. The detail in the bottom flower tells enough of the story to give context to the flowers above. The background is nicely textured and seems to have a diagonal slant that helps to emphasize and give definition to the orchid. I think the placement of the subject to the left, leaving some slight space on the right, works well. School 4, Immotile. Immotile? Apologies if I've said that wrong. The print exhibits a strong sense of shape and position, accentuated through the use of black and white. The tones are pretty much perfect, allowing the edges and angles to stand out with relief, which adds a 3D effect to the composition. The angle of the photograph has created an illusion as the size of the forearms leading out of the print. This, I think, has created tension within the composition by not sticking to uniformity, thus being a very strong element within the composition. Another strong element is focusing on the many varying triangle shapes within the center of the image. A well thought out and composed image with the simplicity but being sophisticated at the same time. School 4, Onslow Burn Falls. The use of light and dark in this print is a strong element that gives emphasis to the waterfall, with just enough light on the rock to add context describing the ruggedness of the scene. The shutter speed used has added some drama to enhance the power of the water, while also catching the spray being generated by the turbulence of the waterfall and perhaps the wind. School 4, Into the Light. I like the sense of scale that comes with this print. The composition is well constructed, with the pathway leading the viewer through the print to the walkers hand in hand, surrounded by the large pine towers towering above them. Going from dark in the foreground to light in the background is also a strong element, as it frames the walkers by silhouetting them as they walk into the light. The black and white media has worked really well, as it has limited some of the detail while emphasizing the story being told. The tones in the print are pretty much perfect. School 4, Giraffe. The construction of the composition being a portrait of the giraffe, the use of monochrome and the mounting of the print with the strong black and white edge inside the mount are all strong elements that make the print appealing. The engagement of the giraffe also helps, as the subject is looking at the photographer with its ears outstretched. The markings of the giraffe really stand out, and I think are complemented against the mostly white background, with some shadings out of focus black that appear to mimic the shading of the giraffe. School 5, Curvature. I think the really strong element of this composition is the way the light draws the viewer into the print, combined with the lines of contrasting curves and shapes. The print seemingly flows from the bottom, with the eye traveling upwards and then stopping at the curvature of architecture and the black sky. The tones in the print are quite exquisite. School 5, Tranquility. Bless you. The simplicity of this composition, with few elements set within a high-key environment, I think makes this print stand out. The placement of the 3 structures within the large amount of empty space immediately grabs the viewer's attention. The use of light, color, and texture is subtle but also dramatic, as the lines of black are dominant, creating strong elements within the composition. using 3 predominant structures, with one being placed to the left, with more space being allowed to the left-hand edge of the print than the 2 structures on the right, creates some nice tension with composition. I think that at the same time adds a sense of depth. The story is well told. The print does create a sense of tranquility. Score 5, solidarity. Oh, solitary. Thank you. I think the simplicity and placement of the subject matter within this composition. Within this composition, there are strong elements within this print. The colours are warm and soft, which helps to create pleasing and appealing mood being exhibited from the print. Having the subject matter on the left with space on the right creates some nice tension, and I think helps to pull the viewer into the print for another look. The background and lighting have been handled very well, and the subject stands out, while the background itself complements the effect. 6. The man from Yangshuo. This print is immediately engaging, mainly because the subject's eyes are engaged with the photographer. The focal point is on the eyes, with the print softening towards the outer edges. The angle of the head looking back at the photographer across the shirt collar and right at the shoulders subject adds tension and some nice perspective. The hat adds some beautiful context and helps frame the face. The color hues are warm and extenuate the skin tones throughout the print. Honors. That would be best in show as well. And best in show. That would be best in show as well, being a 6. So we're going to hand out the certificates. Rachel and maybe Ian, if Diane's not here, or is there? Oh, no. Oh, Diane's here. Thank you, Diane. Oh, wonderful. So just a few more commas, John, and I will be all right. Awesome.
Okay, go. Oh. So, sorry, Di left us with these and it looks like they're maybe not in order. So, apologies for that. Oh no, this one, sorry, this one, Snoozing in the Wind, Penny Kennedy. New Zealand Fur Seal, and that's Nicola Jackson. No, she's frozen. The Pout, Alistair Phillips. Kathmandu Skyline, Heidi Anderson. Cozy Refuge, Robin Johansson. Nature's Frame, Penny Kennedy. Iris, Shirley Wilson. Tropical Splash, Jane Barnes. Hair and water painting, and Yuan. Sun Orchid, Shirley Wilson. Emoto, that's me. I'll just. Earnslaw Burn Falls, Ian Walls. Into the Light, Karen McConaughey. Wait, not here. Giraffe, Dawn Kirk. In Curvature, which is that's me. Thank you. Tranquility and Yuan. Solitary, Dawn Kirk. The Man from Young Shuo, Alistair Phillips.
This was taken a year ago in China. Yangshuo is a absolutely amazing province area in China, famous for its landscape, for its karst mountains, karst hills. So you go there to shoot the landscapes. So this was just on one of my walks out in the countryside, conversing with the locals as best I could, and taking photos. Yeah. Thank you.
This this image taken in China, the place called Xiapu, is especially for the beach, so the landscape. So I catch this one just last year in May.
Oh, that's me. I don't remember exactly even where this was. I processed it twice because the first time I tried to do it more as a high key and it didn't really work, and so I looked online for some better ways to process architecture, and so that is what I ended up with, and I was really happy with the result. That's the end.
Okay. Take that away. Take that away. I didn't get a 5, so I'm not talking. Awesome. Thanks to Heidi and Rach for taking over. You know they're not the print secretary, but Di's been taken out by her family for a special dinner tonight, so she was running around going, what do I do? What do I do? And thank you to you, Ties, for picking it up and taking over, so that's good. So, and also great to see a bunch of prints being put forward, so that's really good. I'm also delighted to see Penny's collected a huge pile of prints, so people are starting to get the hang of prints, so more printing the better, so I'm really keen to see that. That's the conclusion of tonight's, Penny wants to say something.
Thank you everyone for your support with prints. It's amazing. If anyone still has to give me them, please do so before you leave. Willing to take any, like if you want to, that's fine. They can all go up. So now on the website, there's a landscape showcase and nature showcase that are open for exhibition. So how that's going to work is for the first month we will have a full wall of open images in the exhibition, and our club stands will feature the set subject, which currently will be black and white. So after a month they will get switched out, the black and white ones for landscape, and then a month later for nature. So there's an opportunity to rotate images and keep the exhibition fresh and give people a chance to put in different images. So go for it. Upload some images and maybe we'll get some more printing going and some more exciting sections of the exhibition for the next couple of months. Thank you.
And awesome, thank you to Penny for all the effort that's gone into that. There's lots of work going into, and there's lots more work to do, sorry to say, but anyway, that's what's happening. Another special thanks to John for coming in to talk us about the challenge and to throw down the challenge for us all to have a look at and pick up. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to organise a team run out there and figure out some way of making it easier to be involved, because it sounds like really cool. That's essentially all I've got tonight, so thanks for coming along. Please put the chairs back, your cups away, and we will see you next time. What do you put? Okay, see you next week.